lie, I've kind of been putting off this video because there's so much to talk about. Oh my god. Okay, let's just start. We've got to start because I'll never get through it. But hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, welcome back to my second channel. Right, I read 28 fantasy romance books in the month of March, and that's not all the books I read. I read other books as well, but they don't fall into this category, and I'm just going to do a wrap-up of this genre. Even if I spend a minute talking about all of them, it's going to be a really long video, so we're going to get into it. Have I done much else with my life? Nope. Have I got work done? Barely. Is the house clean? Come on now. So I'm going to be talking about the 28 fantasy romance books that I read this month and give you a really quick overview and review of them. Alright, Lego. I kicked off March by reading 2 books by Jennifer Armentrout, which were From Blood and Ash and The Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I did a whole separate video on these and how they go away. How they pretty much completely ruined my life and literally dragged me down a rabbit hole for the entire month. So as I've done a video on those, I will link it up for you. 5 stars for each, absolutely love them. Yes, I have problems with both books, but they are my obsession. The 20th of April can't come quick enough, and the 3rd book is out. I've heard there's going to be 5 books, plus an extra one, which is meant to be Hawke's point of view. So yeah, fantastic. Not going to talk about them. We're moving on. I discovered one of my new favourite authors, which is Grace Draven. Oh my god, I just binged her books the moment I read the first one. The first one I read was called Radiance. So you've got Brishan and Ildiko. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly though. Brishan is like a Kai warrior. He's one of like the princes. He'll never get to sit on the throne though because he's too far down. And Ildiko is like a Gowrie woman. So from the start, they're like a power couple. The whole book is they're forced into an arranged marriage because they're both down in the pecking order of their families. By the way, because he's Kai, he's not human. So they both find each other absolutely repulsive. And from the very get-go, on like the 3rd page, when they first meet each other and not realizing that they're meant to be marrying each other, they're both at the wedding, but they've never met each other. The banter is brilliant. It's a friends to romance, which I've never read before, but oh my god, what a power couple. What a power couple. They literally just talk about how they are disgusted in each other because they obviously look so different. He's not human and she is, and his eyes are really weird and he finds her eyes totally freaky, like our eyes, normal human eyes. And they just banter and they're like really happy that they know they have to be forced into this arranged marriage, but that they're both really nice, they're really cool, and they have a lot in common, being so down far the line of both of their families. And you just love them, you just fall in love with both of them. It's a friends to lovers trope, which I absolutely loved and I've never read before, but 10 out of 10, it was really good. So they get married, but some of their allies and neighbouring territories aren't happy with the agreement because they've made the agreement obviously for more like trade and things like that between the families, and other people aren't happy with it. And it was fantastic. I gave it 4 stars, and then Eidolon, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correct. That is the next book, and I really enjoyed that. The character development between the 2 main characters was brilliant. I loved how their romance, but also them individually changed so much, and the action is fantastic. It's a very deep storyline. Now, I've done a lot of trilogies and series this month, like back to back. I plowed through them, so I'm not going to really talk about the sequels, just in case you haven't read the first one. I'll just give you my brief thoughts on them. Yeah, I love the character development in the second book. I gave that one 4 stars as well. Another one by Grace Draven that I read was Master of Crows, and I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. So you got Martise and Solara. Martise is sent as a spy because Solara is like a crazy, powerful, renegade sorcerer. So she's sent as a spy in one way to earn her freedom, if she does this job correctly, and she goes undercover as an apprentice for this sorcerer. But the god Corruption is trying to basically break Solara, and he's trying to fight against the urge, and the God is literally like trying to bait him in, like, do my bidding, come on, I know you want the more power, to be the most powerful. And I love that, that was so fascinating to see his conversation and how much it hurt him, and physically and mentally. And he was just a really dark, brooding, really powerful, like badass sorcerer, and I really liked his character. Basically, he tries to find a way to kill the god, to destroy the god, but everyone is absolutely terrified of him, and as you can imagine, I don't think this is a spoiler, but he's not very convinced. His new apprentice is his apprentice. He's quite smart, and it is a romance. So enemies to lovers, and it is really good. I just really enjoyed it. And then I also read the novella, which is The Brush of Black Wings, and it's a lot shorter, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars because I really struggled to give a novella 5 stars because it's so short, and I like a really long book. Oh, Lover of Thorns and Holy Gods which is actually mini stories, but I'm not going to count it in my total because I only read one of those stories, and that was from Master of Crows, a continuation of that, and it's really short, so I'm not including it, but that is also available as well. Also, Radiance and Master of Crows are set in the same universe, but not at the same time, so it was really good to read Radiance first, then Master of Crows, because you get like references. You can read them completely separate, they don't, but there is slight little things in them that you will enjoy going forward. The next one I read was called Entreat Me, again by Grace Draven, and is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was okay. So we all know the story of Beauty and the Beast, but on this side you got 2 sisters, and then you've got a father and son, and they're the ones that have been like cursed in this castle. Overall, it's a good premise, but I hated one of the sisters like so much. I think I listened to this on script and I just really didn't like her. She was just so innocent and can't stand that. I need a badass bitch, okay? Like her sister, but I didn't fall in love with her character either. She was okay, but then the whole romance thing kind of just happened too quickly for my liking. I like, unless I'm reading just straight up erotica that's trying to get to the point, I like my romances to be a slow burn that really makes you feel like the build up towards sexy time. The next trilogy I read was The Cursed Prince. Hold on, it's The Cursed Prince, Ruined King, and Shadow Empress. That is the trilogy, and I read them in order. Started off not so great. I gave it 2.5 stars for The Cursed Prince. It follows Ali and Galen. Galen has been in prison for like 1,000 years, and he doesn't have his soul anymore. Ali, on the other hand, love it when a book has my name. Ali is a night elf, and what she doesn't know, when she gets thrown into the jail as well, after accidentally picking up his soul, don't worry, it explains it in the book, obviously, that they are mortal enemies because it was his kind that basically punished all of the night elves and made them live in caves. Problem was, there wasn't enough intrigue and connection for me for this whole enemies to lover thing. I do love an enemies to lover, but it can be done really well. I didn't find the connection in the first book, but I did continue on the series. And Ruined King I give 3.5, and Shadow Empress I give a 3.75. I just couldn't bring myself to give it 4. I did really enjoy them. I'm really glad I stuck out the story of how their relationship goes and how they are pretty much how they went from mortal enemies for a very long time. And his character was very intriguing, like being locked up in a cell for 1,000 years, having no soul, and things like that. It does take a lot of twists and turns, and their relationship does get a lot better and a lot more complex, but it's not the best trilogy I've ever read. This is hilarious, right? I read a book called Demon King, and the only reason I picked this one up is because apparently they were like, it's very much like Lucifer the TV show. I was like, girl, oh my god. It is so like Lucifer the TV show, it's not even funny. The whole, like, not the story, but at the beginning, the build-up, they're in Las Vegas instead of LA, you know, the city of sin instead of the city of angels. And his club and penthouse are identical to what is in Lucifer. Even the way he dressed, he has a British accent, he likes whiskey, he has the same bar that he has in his penthouse as he does in the book. It's exactly the same. And as I read it, it gets real spicy, by the way, real life and spicy. So Hannah comes to Lucas. Her friend has disappeared and everyone keeps telling her, because she disappeared in she disappeared in Las Vegas. Everyone tells her that Lucas will be the one to help her, but obviously, you know, you make a deal with the devil. And he asks her, in return for him helping her find the friend, that she'll get 7 nights of sin with him. So yeah, you know the book's going real quick. And she agrees. Problem is, there's a big twist. Problem is, it's a very predictable twist of what happens because he's suddenly very intrigued by her the moment he accidentally touches her. And if you've watched enough devilly shows, you kind of know where it's gonna go, but it didn't take away. It was all right. The spice was nice. It was great. And I read the second book, is Devilish Mate. The secret is out. It's all busted open, obviously. So the second one is just going through the story. And I found Hannah's story very, very interesting, far more interesting than Lucas. I wanted to see where her story went. The third book isn't out yet. Will I read it? I don't know. If it pops up on my Amazon recommended and I'm going out to read, I might. They're not very long books. They're not very, you know, complex world building or anything. If I'm intrigued enough, I would pick it up. I gave them both 3 stars. I put them in the middle of the road. It was fine. The spice was okay, but it wasn't brilliantly written. It was enough to keep me going though. I'm sorry, I'm not telling you any of the authors. I'll put the books up on the screen. I'm sure you'll be able to read them. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get through them as quickly as possible. This one I read was A Deal with the Elf King. I really liked this book. I gave it 4 stars. It follows a very popular trope of like an elf king coming and selecting a human from the other side of the wall, of the other side of the void, and taking her, and he has to take her to basically become a human queen in his world to regenerate the earth. Bit of a mixture of Beauty and the Beast apparently, but I didn't really get that, and Hades and Hades and Persephone, which I love, and I've read a couple of Hades and Persephone kind of retellings, and I'm a big fan. We got one coming out, would recommend. But no, I really liked it. It again, enemies to lovers kind of trope. She gets taken. Obviously, she doesn't want to go, but there we go. What are you going to do? She has to become their human queen, sit on a throne and regenerate the earth for them. But she really wants to find a way out of it. and find a way to like end the cycle that has been going on, so they don't have to keep taking human queens to do this for them. And I really enjoyed it. I loved the character development. Both sides were just fantastic. I loved where they went with the whole relationship thing, and the decisions they both had to make. Yeah, really enjoyed it. 4 stars. Right, then I read a 5-book series that I really want to own. It was so good. I'm not gonna remember the titles. Hold on, there's 5 of them. So it's the Air Awakens series. There's 5 books by Elise Cover. She also wrote a deal with the Elf King, so I looked through more of her books and found these ones that are really highly rated. Totally understand why. So I went ahead and couldn't stop reading them. I think I read all 5 books in less than a week. So you got Air Awakens, Fire Falling, Earth's End, Water's Wrath, and Crystal Crown. Oh, they're so good. I really enjoyed them. The first book is a little bit slow though. So you follow Vala and Aldrich. Aldrich is a crown prince and it's full of elemental magic. So if you like that, you know, like fire, wind, all of that kind of stuff. And it's the first book I read, I think, with elemental magic, and I actually really enjoyed it. So Vala basically is a librarian, and she has a rare power within her that she doesn't know about. Classic. And she's always been told her whole life to fear these, you know, the sorcerers and everything, that they're something to run away from, to be scared of. Except she has a power that they are extremely intrigued about, and it's really cool. How can I say this without this video being really long? It can be really slow at times. The first book, the first half, oh my god, so unbelievably slow, but I'm so glad I powered through, because I think like the first one 4 stars and the other 4 5 stars, just because I absolutely fell in love. They can be slow parts in it, but the action scenes are absolutely on the edge of your seat, fantastic, with so much like power and the magic system and the world. I loved it. I loved it. The romance, the enemies, again, and for God's sake, it's really good. And how she ends books on cliffhangers, woman, will you please? Oh, one ending, you're literally just like almost screaming. And you think, if the next book wasn't out, what would I do with my life? And then the book after that, I'm not going to say which books these are, I wanted to cry and scream. I felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest. I was literally like, my heart was beating. I was like, you can't end a book. What just happened? You can't end a book like that. I was so overly emotional that I couldn't speak for like 20 minutes. I was in the car with Scott. I can't remember where we were going. I just sat there. He's like, you're right. I was like, no, something just traumatic happened to me. Yeah, fantastic. So if you like a good fantasy romance, you can really dig your teeth in. Just a warning though, the first half of the first book is pretty slow, but brilliant. Sorry, took a minor break. Was my hair always like that through this whole video? Girl, you did not tell me. Girl, please. Okay, not much to go. Right, I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin, and A Court of Frost and Starlight. I already did a video on these by Sarah J Maas, reading Sarah J Maas for the first time. First book I wasn't that interested in, and I did discuss that in the video. I'll link it up, because I didn't like the whole, you know, Tamlin and Feyre relationship. Then I realised why when I read book 2. Very well done, I'll give her that. Book 2 was a lot better. Then, I don't know, it just got to the point where I'm not going to read the latest book. I read A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is a novella, just because I wanted more of Rhys and Feyre. I wouldn't bother, in all honesty, to read it, because it's just pointless and adds absolutely nothing, but I want more of their relationship. I got it, and then I'm done. I don't want to read the next one because it's all about Thingy, isn't it? It follows Thingy-mabob. That's it, A Court of Silver Flames. Nesta. I bloody hate Nesta. I do not like Nesta at all. At all. I am not reading a book about her. I don't care about her. I'm done with her. Go away. So I'm not reading it. I don't want to. You can't make me. Do not like her character whatsoever. So yeah, it was good. My one big complaint about it is, look, Rhys, I'll take you as my 3rd husband. It's fine. I've already got 2. I could take you as my 3rd. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. However, he's too good for someone cloaked in so much darkness. And I get it. You want them to be good and to root for them, to be the hero, but it's almost like he's too good. Like, I need grey characters. I need there to be flaws, but the flaws that just make them, even though it's not human, you know what I mean, more complex, and it just felt like he was too good, you know? Anyway, from that order, 3 stars, 4 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. 3 stars for the novella because, it's in the middle of the road, it was fine. Gave nothing to my life. Then I decided to do another Sarah J Maas, which was The House of Earth and Blood, which is the Crescent City. I think there's, how many books are going to be in that? I have no idea. 3? 5? I don't know. So we follow Bryce and Hunt. Bryce is like party girl, and Hunt is a fallen angel who is enslaved by the archangels, and he's an assassin, and he has to kill so many people to set himself free. there's basically a demon running loose from the pits of hell, killing lots of people. They basically have to figure out what is going on, and it's a really good adventure story. Enemies to lovers, I really did enjoy it. I gave it 5 stars because it did just pull me in. I think I read it in one sitting, 1.5, because it's quite a long book, I think. I know I read it on my Kindle, so it is quite long though. But no, I really enjoyed it. Good dynamics, a lot of good, I enjoyed the world building and the character development a lot. And I did like the 2 main characters. They were very interesting to follow, and especially her brother. And the ending was so, so good. Oh my god, I almost cried when something happened. All I'm going to say is tank. I think I did cry. I think I did shed a tear at that point. Just because I couldn't hold it back. I was like, oh my god, no. It was so beautiful, oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, would recommend that book, and I can't wait for the next one. So then we have Infernal. And this is a trilogy, so there's Infernal, Awakened, and Captured. This one is a Hades and Persephone retelling, and it's really, really good. It's a duo perspective book, and I love that in any kind of book, especially a romance. You get one chapter from one character, and the next chapter's from the other character's perspective, so you get both sides of what they're feeling and thinking at all times. Hades kidnaps Seraphia from a library. There's so much kidnapping from libraries these days. Because he believes that she's Persephone, and that it is from the moment he was created thousands and thousands of years ago. It's been his lifelong mission to fulfill and take over Earth and suck the Earth dry of life and basically take over and spread from his realm onto the mortal realm. So he needs her to fulfill this lifelong prophecy, and it's so good. It's so good because you get to see both sides of them, and it's an enemies to lover thing. And I gave them all 5 stars just because I plowed through them. I couldn't stop reading, just see where this whole thing was going, to see how the characters develop. Like, I wouldn't say they were the best books, but I still gave them 5 stars because, I don't know, you know when it just sinks inside for you, like, are they the best written books you've ever read? No. Is the world building the most incredible? Maybe not. But you know when you just want to give 5 stars, because how much joy and, you know, happiness it brought you to read that book. And really, that's what ratings should go on. That's what I put my ratings on. It's all about the feeling I have after. It doesn't have to be the best written book ever, with really complex plots and lines and something really juicy. So all my 5 stars are actually really so subjective because they're all different from one another. I think a lot of readers can attest this. If you looked at all your 5-star books, some of them you'd have to bump up into a 6-star, into a league of their own, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I just love them. And I love this whole Hades and Persephone story of her being the life bringer to the world. And especially when it's like, it's a love story. And I love it. It was great. I love that trilogy. 10 out of 10. Oh god, okay, so I was thinking about this throughout the end of the month. I'm like, alright, we've done like demons, we've done demons and things like that, we've done elves, fae, like we've gone through a lot. I was like, let's do a vampire book, so I was searching for vampire books. I was like, we gotta keep it in a fantasy romance read. I read Librarian's Vampire Assistant. I think there's like 5 books. I read the first 3, I think. 3? Yeah. And I couldn't read anymore. They were short books, that's why I read 3. 3 is more of like a one-size book, really. It would be about 400 odd pages, the 3 books, I think. So they were really short, that's why I just plowed through them to see if the story was going anywhere. You know when there's so many pop culture references? Like, you've got a vampire who comes in to see into the city to see who's killed his maker, to go to the council of this city to find out what's going on with the other vampires, and then he meets a quirky, nerdy librarian, and there's so many pop culture references, and he doesn't speak like he's from the time he's from, and that really annoys me. If you're gonna make something like a vampire that's really, really fucking old, make it sound like he's really old and super intelligent. This guy's a dumbass. Like, you've been alive so long, how are you so stupid? How are you so dumb? Like, you're meant to blow me away with your intelligence and knowledge of the world and how ludicrously, you know, strong you are. But it was just a moron. I'm sorry, but they were really badly written. I gave 3 of them a chance because they were so short. I just plowed through to see if it get any better, and I could not carry on. I couldn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, they were awfully written. I gave them all 2 stars. I didn't want to give them 1 because that, oh god, it feels so bad to give it a 1. I was bloody tempted to though. I was really tempted to give them a 1 star because, no. Anyway, the last book, I DNF'd, and it's one you all recommended to me, and I think you all recommended it to me either from the Ellen Ash video or from Sarah J Maas video. You all recommended The Cruel Prince. I hated it. I DNF'd at 50%. and that shows for you I gave it a really good go, but I did not like the characters. The bullying was making me so anxious. I hate, and they're really young. That's the thing, it's like a bunch of kids bullying each other, and I didn't like this whole romance thing they tried to bring in because she's so young. It just gave me the ick of them talking about them kissing. Ugh. Because isn't she like 14 or something? Like, I don't know. I thought it'd be an adult fantasy book, and it didn't feel like that. And I really didn't like it. I really didn't like any of the characters. Not one of them did I like. Not even the people you're meant to like did I like. That's why I had to put it down. I'm sorry. I had to put it down, and I didn't read it, and I'm not going to pick it back up again. It was only 99p, I think, on Kindle, so it's not the worst thing in the world, and I'm not upset about buying it, but yeah, I won't be carrying on, but I gave it a good shot. Thank you for the recommendation. I always want good recommendations. If you want to give me any recommendations, here are my requirements. If it's going to be a fantasy romance, there's got to be steam. Girl, do not hold back on the steam. I want the details, okay? We make it spicy. It's got to be slow burn. I don't mind what kind of romance. Friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, whatever. Not insta love. Can't do that. Like I said, slow burn. But well done. This is a really long video, so I'm going to cut it off here. I covered them all. And that's not even all the books I read. But those were all the fantasy romance books I read in March. I need to get my life back. Charity shops are opening again on Monday, so I'm just kind of biding my time reading books, to be honest, until then. Alright, loving, leaving. Let me know have you read any of these books? And if you have, which one was your favourite? And please, let me know your recommendations down below for your favourite fantasy romance. Loving, leaving, shutting up, subscribe, like, follow, all the good stuff. And I'm really sorry this video was late, but as you can see, I couldn't get my head around to film it, honestly. So I decided to read instead. Next month's video is going to be just as bad. Oh my god, I need to get my life. I haven't got a life anymore. Jesus, alright, loving, leaving, showing up. See you in the next one. Bye.